Good evening. My name's Barschak. I'm here at the Bookery Gallerie with Lindsay Pickett.
Hello.
And Lindsay, I think we ought to just stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up for a minute because I have to ask you,
Yeah.
where
My
did
outfit.
you get those trousers?
I got them specially made.
Look at
I just
those.
love the fashion. After maybe
Those are just... You got,
I always go for the high-waisted
the
spaces.
high weight. I mean, Simon Cowell, eat your heart out. Honestly,
way better than that. Though.
Way better than that, exactly. And the little tie and DM boots. Check. I mean, this man not only makes art, he is art. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Now, the reason we're talking to Lindsay, I was particularly taken by your triptych, which I think is, unfortunately, we only have. Can we see the whole of?
Yep.
The whole of this here. And this was the last panel, the third panel in the triptych, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, take us through it. You've got various. Obviously, it owes something to Bosch, something to Dali. Take us through it. What's it saying?
Well,
First of all, what's it called?
Well, it's called Misfit Mania.
Misfit Mania. Yeah,
and
I can
it
see
kind of
why.
represents like a kind of climatic event between humans and animals and Mother Nature fighting back. And this particular panel that you're holding here is a result of all the artificial creations that have been made by the human race, where they've messed up with Mother Nature. But as you can see, there's an absence of humans in this, except for this little being down here, and it's kind of like the aftermath. It's like the after effect of the storm,
Right.
after the major cataclysmic event and everything, of where Mother Nature's fought back in terms of no more genetic engineering. The animals kind of end up taking back the land again. But as you can see, they're not animals that are usual to this world in a way. They're kind of otherworldly.
But the trees and vegetation, they're all intact. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic Eden.
Exactly that.
In a way, you know, with Adam. I like the two noses and two beaks.
What's weird about that is that I did this painting, I completed it in January 2019.
Right.
And the guy you can see there is wearing a mask.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about COVID at the time, but the reason he's got
That
the
is
mask
strange.
is that it represents like the idea of like doctors that were kind of to blame in terms of messing with Mother Nature. So that mask kind of symbolifies the artificiality of how humans have tried to mess things up, really.
We've still got the whole of the picture in frame.
Yeah.
That's good. I didn't want to raise it too much. So it was just serendipitous. Really.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, I was also influenced by Bosch. He's one of probably like the biggest one that I'm influenced by. Salvador Dali in terms of the tightness of technique. I kind of like contemporary people like John Stark and Richard Wathen as well. And Richard Wathen kind of does animal landscapes with meticulous detail. So I kind of like the way he works technically. So I was looking at him when I did my masters.
Where did you study?
City and Guilds of London Art School.
Okay. And when was that?
That was from September 2018. To September 2020, but because of COVID it was extended until July 2021.
So that was only recently that you started?
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, very recent.
You don't look 18.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just wondering your life before that.
Look like more like 2018.
Well, you look like you stepped out of Blitz in the 80s, actually.
Cool.
But
well, I grew up in the 80s. So
okay, yeah. Well, you
sci-fi and all that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, we were talking about sci-fi with another artist, Matt Collier, who, and obviously sci-fi is influential here, or science fact, as it were, if we keep going down that road. So what did you do before 2018?
I was just basically making work. I mean, I did my BA in 97 to 98. To cut a long story short, I tried a lot of things that weren't really for me, but I've always stuck to my art. No matter what other outside job I've had, I've always ended up going back to painting.
Right.
and I actually started to train as an art tutor in adult education.
Right.
So I teach part-time in a few adult education colleges now to kind of get by financially.
Okay.
So yeah, I've always been a painter for well over 20 years. So,
Okay. And this post-apocalyptic thing, or this, this apocalyptic sort of Boschian thing, is that a recent strain, or have you been doing that for a few years?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because before I did my MA, I was doing like these architectural pieces, featuring cities like London, Paris, and places like that.
Yeah.
It kind of had like the idea of illusion, where you could see two paintings in one.
Uh-huh.
But when I started my masters, my tutor said to me that I need to try and find a way to connect my work with historical artists and artists of the here and now.
Okay.
And my architectural pieces, I couldn't find a way to connect those with artists that I was kind of supposed to be looking at for my research. So the city paintings that are on my website, they're more commercial pieces, but this, I'd always had the idea of doing like really strange monsters and fantastical beasts. And I've always had a liking for Bosch and Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, well, if I go back to hybrid animals, that was the thing I had in my head, hybrid animals.
Yeah.
With that, I could look at surrealism, obviously, with the idea of displaced images.
Yeah.
I could look at science fiction, I could look at horror and medieval art, which is where Bosch kind of came into the fray, really.
Yeah, yeah. And it's surreal, obviously, flashes out into your personal life, into your fashion sense as well.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
I've always been a misfit since childhood. I've never fitted in anywhere, and I'm proud of that. Absolutely proud of that.
I know what he's talking about. Yeah. And so tell us your website.
It's www.lindsaypickett.co.uk, and my Instagram is @LindsayPickettArt.
Lovely. Okay. Thank Lindsay Pickett. Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.